All right, all right. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to
Peace,
Spears and Mikes. Welcome
Peace.
to Spears and Mikes.
peace, peace,
I'm one of the
peace. One, two,
hosts.
1, 2.
One of the hosts, Zulu King L1. Call me L1. Call me L. Originally from Brooklyn, Long Island, Yonkers, just New York. Peace.
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 Hey,
Who we got in the room with us?
I mean, I'll go next, and then I'll pass it on. Zulu King Just P. P. Chapter 17, Queens, Long Island. Salute, salute. Shout out to everyone. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Chino XL. Rest in peace, DJ Polo. There's a few others. I don't know if it's confirmed that I heard died. You know what I mean? Earlier today, which is crazy. But
Well,
definitely salute the fallen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'll pass the mic off to Watt.
yo, peace. It's Why Slice, Chapter 7. Hailing from Queens, New York, North Side to be exact. Currently residing in Delaware County, Philadelphia area. Shout out to the world. Word. And peace and love to everybody. Or pieces.
Peace. Zulu King Razor, mostly known as R. Blade, stage name. Um, Representing Chapter 7. Originally born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens most of my life. Been into hip hop since I would say 1990, influenced by Biz Markie, RIP to him. Influenced by most of the Juice crew, Tribe Called Quest. Tribe Called Quest was my first introduction to Zulu, so that was like the one thing that made me gravitate towards Zulu.
definitely, definitely.
All
I didn't even
right,
know Razor had Brooklyn roots, but I think every Jamaican that's not on the island got some type of
Facts.
Brooklyn roots.
Yeah.
all right.
Then I got my pops from Alabama, so got the best of both worlds.
Well, so yo, welcome to Spears and Mikes. The title of the podcast, Spears is because all of us are Zulu, formerly Universal Zulu Nation. You know what I mean? Some may identify it as Almighty Zulu Nation. Some may say Universal Zulu Nation. I'll just call it Zulu Nation. And right now, currently, we representing Zulu Union. Chapter 25 for me, specifically, and the rest of the brothers in here is from chapter 7 or chapter 17. Collectively, we're known as the 49ers when all three chapters is together. So pretty big movement throughout Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, so on and so forth. But we wanted to speak about hip hop, man. There's a lot of things that we be building on, like amongst the group right now, and now we just want to put it on video, put it on audio, share it with the world. We feel like our background, man, being raised by some of these pioneers, some of these legends that we've been around for almost 3 decades. We definitely soaked up the true culture, the true information, the true representation of what the entire culture is, not just the rap or the MC part of it, you know what I'm saying? But like the B-boys, the graph, the knowledge, most importantly, because without the knowledge, you can't do none of it. So, we want to bring some of the lessons, some of the information that we got blessed with as youth or young adults. We want to share it with the world. And, you know what I mean? Just speak on current events and hip hop and our take on everything. You know what I mean?
Peace.
Word. Also, I think we have spoke off air talking about New York City gang culture also, because that also ties into the origins of hip hop as well. These known movements like the Universal Zulu Nation, the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths, the Ghetto Brothers, the Ball Busters, the Rocksteady crew, all of these movements, had a
Low
major
lives,
low
Decepticons,
lives, right? Had a
Lost
major
Boys.
influence on hip hop. All of these movements we just mentioned had a major influence, especially like the earlier movements, like I said, like the 5% Nation, the Universal Zulu Nation, and all the former New York City gangs that came together to make the Universal Zulu Nation. Also, I think that's very important. Um, and I'm gonna just put the disclaimer out now. I joke a lot but I'm gonna take this thing real serious. And being that I'm an English major, former English major, I'm not going to butcher the English language to appease anybody. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just letting people know from the jump. Like, I'm not going to butcher the English language to appease anybody. And if you're offended, sorry, but not sorry. But that's just how it's going to go. And I'm not saying pause or no Diddy, no Bambada, none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a heterosexual male. I'm a man. I'm married. I have children. And, you know, we're going to speak like men. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be times where me and these three other brothers disagree, but we love each other. So we could disagree and come back and it'll be peace and love. So the people that leave comments, negativity, the trolling, we're not bothered by it. Actually, it's invited because we understand, you know, that music is subjective. So everybody has an opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's an opinion. But when it comes to the history, we've been around these pioneers, these people that like get honored at the hip hop honors and all of these other events, and these statues are being made, like Ralph McDaniels and Cool DJ Red Alert. Cool DJ Red Alert is Zulu. You know what I'm saying? We've all been around him like many times. So like when it comes to factual stuff, you cannot get mad at the facts. An opinion is an opinion. Facts are facts though.
Yeah,
That's all I
definitely,
wanted to say.
definitely. You know, we've been blessed to be around a lot of these legends. And you know, to us, these are just kind of like humble, regular brothers. You know what I mean? Regardless of their position in hip hop, you know, they've always been cool, low key, humble. You know, teaching us. You know, yeah, we ran into some you know, some idiots, some people that's not too humble, also. You know what I mean? But you know, when we Zulu, we really didn't care because we like kind of high ranking in the organization. So when somebody was like thought they was too big, we really didn't care because we like, yo, we got the goons in Zulu. We probably put hands on you if you start acting up. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like that was the force. But you know, the elders keep us in line or whatever. Um, but you know, really, we just want to speak on our experiences, man. You know, what you think about it, Razor? Like, man, I think you've been Zulu longer than all of us, right?
Now I'm kind of like I think I'm right under you.
No, no, you got a longer time. I joined '97, so I know you got like
Really?
'95 or something like that. Yeah.
Nah, all
Six.
right. I joined like around '96, but basically most of y'all don't know the whole scenario. But when I first joined, I joined through Brother Bryce. It was him, Terry, and a few other heads that were like I knew Q since fifth grade, but Q was the only Zulu I know in Queens prior to meeting Red, and then me and
Peace to
Red
Zulu
got
King Q.
yeah, peace. Peace to him, peace to Red, R.I.P. to Bass, because those were the first heads I came across. Peace to Otto, when I first joined. Initially, the first beef we had with Shadow Inc., I wasn't really brought in, but because I was there for people I was cool with, is why I wrote out for Zulu. Apparently, a lot of heads feel like I wasn't good enough for it, so I ended up not joining the first time. Then I met someone with, I don't know if you guys ever remember this guy named Chris that was part of Chapter 18. He
Well,
introduced me to, say
my
again?
bad. Can you tell them just for the people? I mean, we know, but just for those that don't know and will see this, tell them who, where, like what chapter, Q, like
Oh,
tell them who these people are and things like
all
that,
right,
and then
my
you know
mistake.
what I mean.
So,
For just in case,
Zulu
like
King
tell like we don't
Q,
know.
yeah, sorry, Zulu King Q was the chapter for Chapter 18 in Jamaica, Queens, Hollis, in some form of those areas. So, under his leadership, a lot of heads ran through most of Queens. They had members from Crazy Babies. And as far as the people I came under, they were under a crew called MIK, which was short for Money Incorporated. And that's where Brother Meth came from, as well as Brother Bryce. Through them, it's how I ended up joining Zulu. Along that time, I fell out with them. I ended up meeting who I assumed was TC Islam, and that's how I became Alien. So this is about, I'd say, end of 96, November 96, up until the time when myself, Zulu King Red, and Kappa and a few other brothers became DC Fam. And then through DC Fam, that's when Zulu King Red discovered that I was actually still Zulu through aliens. I explained to him at that time there were no lessons taught to me, so I didn't have any resources to contact them. So I ended up becoming part of Chapter 18 in 97 officially. Through there, we fast forward to 2003, 2004, we created Chapter 7. We went away from Chapter 18 to some degree because of disagreements, and here we are now, Chapter 7, and peace to King Red for starting that movement.
Word,
That's
free King
peace.
Red too.
Word.
Free that man.
Yes.
Free the brother.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a dope story.
Wish I could tell you more. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I'm losing my memory. I'm getting older.
Yeah, well, that's gonna jog your memory though, believe it.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you? Your first experiences with the Zulu Nation?
Zulu Nation.
And
1996. I was in high school. I attended Jamaica High School. My cousin Wise went to LaGuardia High School in Manhattan, right across the street from Martin Luther King High School, right behind the Amsterdam projects. Um, so story goes, my cousin Wise is half Cuban, so he looks Puerto Rican though. So he joined the Latin Kings. A lot of people don't know this. He had joined the Latin Kings
I definitely didn't know
for
that.
like a week, right? Yeah, he joined the Latin Kings for like a week. So I think he had like a issue with them because he didn't speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my mother's sister's son. So he not tapped into his so-called Latino side. So they jumped him. You know what I mean? And
Damn.
I came up there, right? But he even looked like he got touched. Like Wise is like the illest dude. Like he'll have like six people jumping him, and he'll come out with like a red swollen ear or something like that. It's just wild. But I came up there, and he had introduced me to this dude that was Zulu that had a branch in natives, right under Shaka Zulu King Scott. And I'm not going to mention the person's name because he ended up becoming Crip. He ended up leaving, becoming Crip, and Chapter 18 ended up having to handle them dudes. And we might tap into that story a little later, maybe a couple episodes. But long story short, I got down with natives, and then just knowing Zulu King Red and his cousin Junior from junior high school, like they saw me flagging one day and it was like, yo, we ain't know you was Zulu. And yo, we just started mobbing. And then the dude said, since you with them, why don't you just be with them? But it ended up turning into jealousy. And then, like I said, he turned Crip. And that's kind of how that story ended. But I was 50 natives, out of Brooklyn for a short period of time before I ran into Red and June and them. I forgot actually how I came. I think it might have been. I think they might have been looking for you, Razor, because this is after. I think this is a little after the time the situation happened with Johnny.
Okay, so
I
this
think
is
I
a
think
DC
it's a
fan
little. I
thing.
think right. This is a little after that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I ran into Red, because I was going to LaGuardia, hanging with Wise and the other cat and a couple of other dudes that were. And it's funny because everybody that was under him, except for me and Wise, turned Crip.
Mm.
Everybody.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And then they had an issue with Wise behind, like not flipping, with them, and then we just became Chapter 18 after that. And then, the branches started, and Excalibur is like a known thing, and that was that, and like Razor said earlier,
Yeah, I
I
forgot
went
about
to the
Excalibur.
military in 2000, and I came home in 2004. Right. So a lot of things were going on. I had no idea that the chapter had split. So when I came home, I had bumped into June, and me and June started hanging. But Wise had already told me about chapter 7 starting. So I said, when I'm come home, I'm chapter 7, just because this is who, when I was in high school, this is who I was with. This is who we was going to war, like side by side with, against other gangs and movements in Queens and through the 5 boroughs, for real, because we was really going outside, at the time, handling business. So when I came home, it was a foregone conclusion that I was chapter 7. So that's about that, though.
No doubt,
P.
no doubt. Me, y'all want me to go next? I mean, I don't know. I mean, where I'm from in Long Island, honestly, I was always into gang activities. Um, Two of my cousins was the whole opposite gang. In Long Island, there wasn't Bloods and Crips, so it was more like neighborhood crews. I kind of just wanted to be in one of those. The crazy thing is, I met one person in school in like ninth grade, and we made a promise that we were going to start our own little crew. And then we decided the next day, sitting watching everybody except the ESL kids become part of the new neighborhood gang, like the whole school, unless you're ESL. That's it. Everybody other than, and the person name was Damien, but the whole school, yo, the whole that in the neighborhood, all the little neighborhood dances, the little any activity you could, yo, they were joining that gang, yo. And then
It was
I think
MMP or
it
LOL?
it was MMP. I
Okay.
wasn't I had heard about like LOL, which is a part like in Huntington, Long
Lord of
Island. Yeah,
Lunatics.
yeah, yeah. But this is before like I did ninth grade in Huntington. You know what I'm saying? I did ninth grade at Huntington High School. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was MMP. I didn't this is before I moved to Greenlawn, but when I moved to Greenlawn, um I was already on the MMP team when I moved to Greenlawn. And the only other person that was like I think Tony and Scat had a cousin, Rashad, and then Esco had moved right after me, but that was and I think Reggie was also MMP. And what they did was like they went to a party and they just
Football Reggie, right?
yeah, they just jumped in a fight one day at a school dance and then the MMP the next day. So but that's well before I went to Harborfields. In Huntington High in ninth grade, just me and Damien. His name is Damien, who's Gestapo. But one day we were like, we're gonna start a crew, and then the next day we're like, now we might want to join MMP. But Damien just didn't do it, and then I moved to Greenlawn. I think I did it. I did it with Andy. You know what I'm saying? Andy was like someone I knew before MMP became the thing, and then he got
Dominican
down.
Andy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? When he was Animosity. You know what I'm saying? I was there when they gave him that name. But then like he got down and then I started like entering kind of like that. And then I like moved to Greenlawn. And then I knew some people. Bless was a person I knew already before he was in Green. I think he was always in Greenlawn for a while, but he just didn't really let people know. Like he's not running around with like Reggie or they didn't even know he lived like up the block. Like and then he lived there. But honestly, when I got to Harbor Fields, um, I was just all about MMP. When I moved to Atlanta, I got left back, went to Atlanta thinking I was MMP and started doing all that weird gang stuff, like being in my mind. Like I took that to Georgia. And then I was only down there for a year. When I came back, um, I ran into Damien. He was already Zulu. And no lie, that Damien was like, you remember what we promised? We're gonna start our own gang. And I'm like, haha. He's like, yo, it's Zulu now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? I'm a man of my word. Even back then, I was just like, all right, and I had seen the Zulu Nation in like a rap magazine, like some artist was Zulu, and that's where I heard it. You know what I mean? And then when he showed me the precepts and what it's about, I understood it real well. You're 17, about to be 18. It agreed with me, and you know what I mean. I was just with it. But being that I was already MMP, the people that I were with, that's when they were starting to join like official gangs, like real super gangs, like MS-13. A couple people might go to Yap Hank. This is in Long Island. They might go to County or whatever, come back blood. Like one or two will do that. I had a close friend, Jay Knight, who he was blood when he went to jail and came home blood and ended up just being blood and then joining Crip. But I just joined Zulu, you know what I'm saying? No one knew what Zulu Nation was. We weren't like in the boroughs where you guys had
Alexa, turn on
you
guest room.
you guys had peace treaties, or y'all knew Zulu in your neighborhood and where the whole entire Astoria and all. No one knew what Zulu was like that, yo. L1, I'm one of L1's first recruits. They thought he was Latin King. He
Mm.
used to never, he just showed up to the neighborhood looking how he looked now back then and just not talking. And yo, one person they swore he was Latin King. Yo, they never knew what Zulu was. Yo, you know what I'm saying? So like we built that. You know what I mean? We built it in Long Island, and then I moved to the boroughs and lived off of that. I was just telling someone that, yo, like everybody around me Zulu. I was coming to look to hang with Zulu with the Long Island Railroad. Like, you know what I mean? Once I could do public transportation. I'm everywhere. I'm in Staten Island. I'm in the Bronx. I'm at every Universal. I'm at all my chapter meetings running around. I'm there after the meeting's over. Days before, like they like yo, they used to be certain like we had it like that in Huntington too, where you could just go and you're gonna see some Zulus no matter where you show up, what time. You could show with not like I used to go to Flushing where I'd have nothing, like not even a way to get home. And I'd be all right. Like the whole
Well,
neighborhood is Zulu where like we come from that, So that's basically how I
well,
got down. But I always been doing music and I just kind of blended the two. I didn't join Zulu because it was hip hop related, but it was good that it was hip hop related. I would have been doing hip hop regardless. I was doing it before I was I've been doing it, you know what I mean, since I was young. But it was cool to be a part of the foundation and adding on to that. You know what I mean? What about you, Al?
well.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell your
Um,
story.
Last but not
yeah,
least.
like, yeah, no, when I was young, I used to listen to my mom. My mom's really, even though she grew up with parents that didn't really speak English, she always listened to American music, had a wide range of music that she listened to. And one of the records, my mom had a couple of Africa Bambaataa records. She had the Planet Rock records. She had Looking for the Perfect Beat. And she used to play them often because Puerto Ricans really like that freestyle music, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they really big on that. And she used
Uh,
to always play them freestyle records. And to her, that was kind of like a freestyle record, you know? Um, she used to play that so often, and just hearing that the mighty Zulu Nation, look, that was kind of drilled into my head as a youth, Zulu Nation from the '80s. Hearing that, you know what I'm saying? And then when you start to listen to hip hop and you see some of your favorite artists shouting out all these different, you know, artists like Tribe Called Quest, you Fat Joe, Just Ice. You know what I mean? All these different hip hop artists shouting out Zulu Nation. You start to really start to do your research and ask people, what is this about? And I saw that it was a big movement, knowledge based, right? With a lot of black, so-called brown people, heavy influenced in New York. You know what I mean? And to me, like the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths and the Zulu Nation was kind of like the two big things, the two big influences in New York City. And I was always, to me, representing New York City was important to me. So when I was young and dudes was kind of like admiring, wanting to be Nieta or Latin King, some of my peers that I was in the neighborhood with, that really didn't interest me too much. I was more interested in hip hop due to the knowledge, due to the culture. I was gravitating towards that. So in my heart, I always kind of felt like I wanted to be Zulu. And then when I started rapping, MCing, you start writing and you just get deeper in the culture, right? And just the desire to be Zulu was just so um, big in my heart. And I met this brother Lead Rock from the Bronx. He's from the Bronx and also Woodside, Queens. And he was Zulu since he was a shorty. And he had just been working with me at a retail job in Staples. And he was a little bit older than me, you know, like, so he was like a grown man already. And I was like 17 years old. And he was like, yo, I'm Zulu. We was talking about it, and I just didn't believe him because I'm like, yo, this is like a gift from God for me. Like, Zulu's right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I want to be down with that. He like, oh, you young, you know, he was kind of just not giving me that real attention. But then one day he dropped some lessons off at me, started reading them, the 15 beliefs, right? Start reading the laws, you know what I'm saying? Reading all those things. And then I was like, I'm hooked, you know? So he was like, yo, I'm gonna bring you around, bring you to an anniversary, bring you to the 98 anniversary, met all the different Zulus, started dropping jewels on me and all of that, and then signed the application and all that, and officially got down. But, you know, the traveling, it started in 97, right? 98 full-fledged membership. Just moving forward, start recruiting brothers in the community. You know what I'm saying? Really just recruiting the Puerto Rican and Black brothers in the community and trying to give knowledge of self and give them some culture, right? Because the gangs, right, was teaching destruction, but I really wanted the infinity lessons to be like the base of what we're striving to do. Like, learn these lessons and it's gonna guide you to a different path. Even as a young shorty, like I had the mind of a more so grown man, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted that knowledge and that influence to shape people. So when I recruited people, I really wanted to be good with the lessons myself, the infinity lessons, speak it well, know it well, teach it well so that they could learn it well, understand it well, and it could guide them. You know what I mean? And then from there, the reality of it is, you know, we started mobbing in Long Island. You know what I mean? We really got deep real fast. I'm gonna be honest, there was a time when we used to count, the roster had damn near almost 100 dudes on it. Not just from Long Island, you know, we were spreading everywhere. We was getting members in other neighborhoods, some upstate, some different boroughs. We had people shooting into Long Island from different areas. And, you know, I'll be honest, in our community, we was like the first organized movement aside from MS-13. And to me, there's two different lanes we in, you know what I mean? MS-13 was already a formidable movement. And then, but Zulu Nation at the time in that area in Long Island wasn't really no presence of Bloods and Crips like that was really that big, at least in Huntington. And I know in Amityville and Hempstead and certain other surrounding areas in Long Island, these movements were relevant. But in Huntington, it was really just official station soldiers, which was a combination of Maniac Murder Posse, Fairground Clique, and formerly some Lawn of Lunatic numbers that kind of became MMP. And then on my side of the neighborhood, shout out to the brothers that Southside Platoon. The media sometimes calls it Southside Posse. SSP is what they call themselves. These movements were like hundreds deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, and honestly, I used to try to recruit brothers from these movements, and they would decline it instantly. Like, nah, I'm
Yeah,
SSP
right.
for life. I'm Southside.
Yeah, right.
Nah, I'm Station. You know what I mean? They were
You
so
did though.
solid and so, yeah,
You got
they were
one
so
because you got
solidified.
Epel. Eli was
Yeah,
MMP.
yeah. Definitely. We you know what I'm saying? Eli, you
Mm-hmm.
know, peace to him wherever he's at. You know what I'm saying? Disappeared from us. You know, no disrespect to the brother. There's a lot of people that came and went for various reasons. No knock
Yeah.
on anybody. I don't take nothing personal because so many brothers did stay. I'm more worried about the ones that stayed versus the ones that left. You know what I mean? If you left, it really wasn't for you. No disrespect. Keep it moving. You know what I mean? You close the book. You know, and your story ended there, and our story continues on. You know what I'm saying? But in our area, like I was saying, was these movements were so strong that dudes was like, nah, no disrespect, that's dope. Shout out to Zulu Nation, but I don't want to be a part of it. So we recruited brothers that was neutral, brothers that wasn't affiliated with gangs, brothers that wanted some knowledge, brothers that was into hip hop, and brothers that wanted to be about, you know, something a little bit different than what was going on in the community. But you know, shout out to SSP, shout out to MMP, shout out to OSS. These movements are so relevant in our community, man, that they were just, I mean, they were influential.
Yo,
Period. You know, they were mobbing.
how crazy it was my family is Southside, and like and I tell the story a lot to I just told my son this. One of them is Antoine Davis, and they call him Nam. I heard stories about Nam being a crazy kid since a teenager, but he lived in South Huntington. And even though I went to like Whitman, not Whitman, I went to like Stimson and Birchwood. I went to like South Huntington schools, but and I've lived in like Green Lawn, years apart. And then I lived in Southside for a brief little minute, but because of press. But anyway, you would hear stories about Antoine being a bad little kid. And one day, me being MMP, and then one of them got in a fight, and he was beefing with Antoine, and I was like, oh wow, that's my cousin. Let me go over there and talk to him. But what was crazy was that because Rob not like L1, you not fucking my bad. You not recruiting and activating people from like you're picking neutral people, it made it harder, which made people more stronger. Like when I was growing up with Nuff, I knew Nuff from being in like church and things like that. We used to be and like our parents be upstairs and we're in the basement, like, you know what I mean, playing around as little kids, and he was just a church kid. But when he joined Zulu, like that was a vehicle for him to become like a monster. Travis was another one where he blossomed in a way different way, but in the beginning it was very, very hard. Like you would laugh at the first 5 members because none of that, you weren't like popular if you weren't Southside or MMP. You were not a popular person. Like you were
You were
almost
underdog.
right, but you were like Southside. Ox was Southside, and you were like rumored like Southside affiliate because like you lived on that block, like and like we basically considered you Southside. You know what I mean? And it's amazing how you
Yeah.
did that. Like it's
You know,
amazing.
like
That was an amazing time.
I didn't gravitate towards it because you know when you're not from the town, they really don't welcome you in like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
unless you really like if you really like pushing some real like super. I'm
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
city and I'm with my guns and whatever. Like you know,
They
I
get beat
was
up
keeping
like
it
that.
low and I was just like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn, so like to me, I don't see like why I'm gonna be beefing with the other side of the town because
Right.
I respected everybody, you know, both sides of the town. You know, I wanted to be good with everybody. But you know, shout out to everybody, man, because you know, like Noam Nitty that you mentioned, the brothers
Yeah.
super solid. Shout out to Stud V from OSS. There's so many brothers on both
That was
sides
really,
that's
really
so
cool.
incredible, magnificent brothers, legendary brothers that you know they all grew up and they elevated and they doing great things
Definitely.
now. You know,
Definitely.
but you know, to speed up my little Zulu story, like, you know, whatever, we got big, right? And we were Elite chapter at the time. The chapter was originally shut down. The founder of Elite was Zulu King Silver Dollar. Co-founder of that chapter was rest in peace Zulu King TC Islam. Um, you know, both of them brothers founded the chapter, right? It was shut down because of like being aggressive, gang activities, fights, all of that, right? They was shut down, right? So when Elite gets shut down, they just go back to Gestapo because Gestapo and Elite is the same thing, right?
Mm.
So when we started representing Elite, you know, basically like people used to think that the chapter was shut down. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we went back to Gestapo later on, right? And to me, we even we became Black Spade for a little while too. I remember Dollar had a meeting with me, A Money, Bear, Tone, and he was like, "Yo, we're gonna split up G's and start Black Spades." Me and Nuff became Black Spades for a little while. Then we went back to Gestapo because our mentality was just shifting. We was thinking we was Black Spade. We was giving putting in, trying to put in more pain. We was trying to act more gang like, but that's not the way to represent Black Spades and dishonor the name. So we just went back to Gestapo with something like I felt like we weren't even like we weren't worthy of having that name Black Spades. So we went back to G's. In 2006, me and some of the G's had a difference of opinion in leadership, right? Because I was one of the top leaders of Gestapo, and certain brothers and sisters was coming home from prison and they wanted to move the G's in a different direction. I was striving to move it in a more professional manner, more knowledge based, more family based, and brothers want the G's to be like it should be. You know what I'm saying? And I respect it. I understand it. I understood it. I respect it. But you know, I move how I move. Just because I talk positively or you know speak with wisdom doesn't mean I don't get down with these or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I just did it different. But, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight over the name because this shit's way before me, right? Y'all want the G name? Y'all can have it. Respectfully, shout out to King Bull. Shout out to King Divine. Shout out to Dollar. Rest in peace to Zulu King Spider, aka Baby Spade Spider. You know what I'm saying? There's some legendary names we're going to mention throughout the time. Sometimes we may not have the chance to elaborate on some of these names. And out of respect for their privacy and their history, we may not even give you much info on it, but we want to shout out certain names and legends because when you hear names like, so some of these names, when you blood or crip, they're so relevant or so much his story behind it. We want to also shout out the legends in our organization, right? We want them legends to be their story to be known a little bit. So shout out to Spider, shout out to Dollar. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so me and the G's, we split. I took the brothers in Long Island. I asked them if they wanted to stay G's or start chapter 25. I was 25 years old at the time. So that's why I picked the number, to tell you the truth. And then from there, I would say 2/3 of the brothers came with me in chapter 25. A third of the brothers stayed in G's. No disrespect to them brothers. I love them. You know what I'm saying? Those are still family. We still move like one today. You know what I'm saying? So, chapter 25 was born 2006. And, it's going on almost 20 years. We got brothers from, 45 years old down to 20 years old right now. We still got young ones. And that's where we're at with it. We want to keep this moving. So you got to recruit it. You got to keep developing it. You got to keep nurturing it. You got to keep, just keep on pushing this, right? Otherwise it dies, right? We only got but so much juice. We only got but so much time left to be relevant. So, you got to recruit the young ones. And this is us telling our story so people could know the story and, maybe they want to add on to the story, But that's my story, you know what I mean? Peace to y'all for allowing me to speak on it.
Peace. Yo, P, I had no idea you were from Huntington.
Nah, see, that's how I moved from Huntington in 2002, and then I started chilling with Red in '04. I lived my son. I moved to see with Ciara for a little while in Brooklyn, and then I stayed with my baby mother in '04 and '03, and that was it. Flushing. Then I've been on ever since. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely from Huntington. I joined Zulu in Huntington, yo.
When I first met
I
you
was
was
elite
the time,
and all that. Oh,
didn't know that.
word?
I
can't
thought you were
believe. I can't
17.
even
I thought you were
remember
from
when.
Flushing.
From
No,
L that he was
I
elite.
am 17. I had got dropped, and then L it was 40. He had super potential. No, y'all dropped me.
No,
Nuff was the
no.
gangster and was like, yo, let me get your beads. And then y'all definitely dropped me. And I get it, cause it was too hot. I was about to get y'all in a whole gang war, yo. A whole gang war, son.
I was just telling Watt this. Watt never knew the story.
Nah, what?
And I'm not gonna elaborate it. But I didn't think we dropped you. I thought we suspended you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was on probation, so I couldn't suspend. I was already, you know what I'm saying? I got down with you. It was like my first month. You know what I'm saying? It was like within a month and a half. And
In a month, P?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I told you I was supposed to join Crip with J Knight and everybody I was hanging with, and I didn't do it. I kept my promise to them. Yo, they showed up and was just like, first of all, they showed up and we end up getting in like my friends, Leroy and Knight, not even Knight, Leroy, Boo and Knight or whatever, but we end up getting in problems. And then later on, we together end up fighting who happened to be like Bloods. Like I ended up from my mother's house, I ended up renting a room right around the corner and had my friends over there. This is when I'm going to Five Towns. I had all my friends over there. Everybody, because it's Five Towns is right there in Huntington. We're coming back. I had everybody that was a gang member sign it. They're signing the wall. They're signing the ceiling. That crib was fire because it had wild gang graffiti. Because by this time, other people like Esco was a Crip by then. He's someone I knew from MMP. I think J Knight was Blood. They jumped him. Now he's a Crip or something because he's in Amityville where like now everybody's like different gangs and I'm the Zulu one. You know what I'm saying? I remember being out there where they had like fake gang meetings and I'm the Zulu one. But L had when I first joined, we had problems with like Ruvan and Delvon or whatever, you know, or you know what I'm saying. It's like just little young kids doing young kid things. But the thing is that we end up getting in a big fight in front of the house I just moved in. You know what I mean? And the reason I left Huntington is because I got kicked out of that because of that big fight. Like right in front of the landlord next door. He lived next door, and we get in a super fight where one person got Bud, and then now it falls out because you're getting beat up. I got hit with a hammer, and I just moved in there from like my mother's house and she's in a nursing home. All that while going to school. It was crazy. I don't know. I should have just not chilled with my friends and but you're 19, 18 years old. What do you know what I'm saying? I used to let people in my house while I'm gone, while girls, like, I was wilding that year, but against like my mother, I'm young. It's my first time being on my own for real, like, and yeah, it happened like that. But the crazy part is during that, I had joined the Zulu Nation with L1 and they're building. And then you're hearing, mind you, no one knows what Zulu is. They just know what they see of me and what they might like. L1 might have been like feared because he looks crazy. L's been scaring people forever. Like now he's just a funny guy, but he's been scaring people since like 11th grade. He's
It's been serious.
When I first came home, I think I met Ella like 05, 06, I think, right? Yo, I never thought he smiled.
Yo,
and even when he smiled, it was scary. It was just like he had that smile, like you
L1
crack
smile.
a joke, like right now, like
yeah, he didn't do that.
you say something funny,
He
everybody
gonna laugh.
laughing, and Ella be off to the side, like,
What?
and then go right back to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, this brother's for real.
The
So
whole time
like
back
when he
then, I never
mentioned
seen
like,
him laugh.
yo, when he mentioned the discrepancy that he had with the G's, I remember going to a Universal and, you know, like everybody knew, like when I had the North Face book bag, you know, a lot of people knew what it was. And I had told Al, like, yo, I don't know what's going on and I really don't care. But I know Red and Biggs said they with you, so I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. And it's been like that ever since. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's
But
been like that ever since. Like,
they straight up, it was because you're building the chapter and you don't really want outright discrepancies when it's like outright problems, yo. So I got why they dropped me then, but L introduced me to Biggs in chapter 17, and then I've been right ever since. You know what I'm saying? I met Biggs one time. I met Biggs right before, and then I met Biggs again after that. I ended up going to 5 towns with Biggs. And I mean, that's been one of a life-changing decisions because that's one of my greatest friends ever, right? You know what I mean? I know his family, like, so it's amazing. But that's why I've been 17 since Long Island. I came out there in Queens already 17, but I do come from like elite. Like I was elite where Al just did not smile at all. The time where they had, you remember in the mall where they had a book signing and it was The Rock? It was somebody that had came to the mall, and it was like it was hundreds of people outside, and L scared like 50% of the crowd just walking through. We seen him and was like, yo. I remember I think it might have been J Knight. He was like, yo, we not met. J Knight was like, yo, that because he kind of embellishes, like, looking back. And he's like, yo, that's my Latin King homeboy. And then you just see, like, I remember hearing people walk by like, yo, what's wrong with that guy? And he was with a girl just walking through, and that's the first. And then I seen a picture of you somewhere in Whitman, and it looked like you was throwing up the crown, but it looked like, I think that's where they got the Latin King from. They just thought you might have been haphazardly or half-heartedly throwing up like Latin King, which a real king would never do that. But that's where that came from. But he scared half the crowd. And this is like a big parking lot, and you just kept hearing like whispers of, "Yo, who's that guy walking around?" And it was it was with somebody who was with, and they were like, "Who's that guy walking around?" And he had just moved to the hood. He had just moved to Huntington, yo, and he was scaring a lot of people. You know what I mean?
He
But
has
he's
an
a great
aura.
guy, yo.
I can honestly say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, but he's great.
I'll just be serious. You know, y'all know I'll be serious. When I'm out in like unfamiliar grounds or in an environment that I don't know, I'm just quiet, reserved. You know what I'm saying? But when I
No,
know, I
definitely.
open up. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
open up and invite. But that was then. That's a reflection of the
yeah,
pain when you young and you ain't got no father, you got no direction, you got no
Facts.
pain. You're in a
yeah,
community that you don't even know anybody because P, you know how it was, and our town was
yeah,
treacherous.
yeah,
Huntington
yeah,
Station is
yeah,
a treacherous, gang
yeah.
infested community. So you can't be walking around smiling with nobody. Dudes will just jump you at the drop of a dime.
Mm.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
a
mean? You
fact.
got a
That's a fact.
cigarette? Nah, you ain't got a cigarette. I don't smoke. Boom, ping, 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 pow,
You know,
pow.
it
You just
definitely
might,
looked crazy when I used to come through there. It
yeah.
definitely, that's why I
I never
always
been
had the
out
North
there.
Face. That's why I always had the North Face book
Nah, I
bag.
feel
Like
you.
I,
Yeah,
Right.
like even though I know I was good because of L and the
Yeah.
brothers, but you still you still got to
Right.
be on point.
and that's
You
before
know,
MS came through. That's before MS-13. So
yo,
now
nah,
imagine after
MS was
MS-13.
there.
Oh
MS
yeah,
was there when I was
Oh,
when
coming
you
you
through.
came
MS
through,
one
was
of
yeah,
them.
already
Right.
when I came through.
yeah.
MS was already there.
When I
Well,
was growing up, it used to be because it's different living in the city. Like I got in problems in
Right.
the city, and I almost never see those people because everything's right there on my block. I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Where Huntington, it's small town, so everywhere you go, you gonna run into that. And, like they be for years out there, like years on site for years. That's insane to me. Living in the boroughs, that's insane because like there's people that I've knocked out and never seen again ever after, yo. I'd be like, and never seen the people again, yo. And sometimes that comes back on me, but most times it doesn't, yo. You know what I mean? So it's weird, but it's because everything is right. Like there's not a lot of places to go. And when you know what I mean, it's the football games and dances, the little teen club. Like
Right.
teen clubs was crazy. Teen clubs was crazy when I was growing up, yo, because everybody's there. Now they're fighting other
Wild
towns.
fights.
Yeah, what people would just
Wild
show up
Dance,
to fight,
Amityville.
yo. Wine
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dance Amityville is insane. And then they had like a technical school where it's like in Deer Park, and you go there like half the day to learn a trade. So it'll be people from Wine Dance and Amityville, and then it'd be on site there, yo. It's
Right.
insane. It's insane, yo. I had a lot of
Yo, Long
like, but
Island is
that
slept on.
mentality, no hard body, hard
I'm
body.
gonna tell
Lo-
you. I'm gonna
Long
tell you,
Island is
right?
slept on.
It is. It is like, and I slept on it, right? When I grew up in Bedford Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, I'm coming from Sumner houses, right? So I'm moving to Long Island. I'm thinking I got to go play hockey to go
Right.
meet
I'll be on
people.
the
Like it's gonna
wrestling
be white
team. I'll be on
boys,
the wrestling
right?
team. Right.
I go out to Long Island my first day. 150 goons is on the block. Dice games, double dutch, just the wild 40s out.
The
Dudes,
double dutch.
Yeah, yeah,
yo,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
dudes is
I'm gonna
beating up
use that.
women. Dudes is beating up women. All
Southside had
types
that
of
one
shit. It was
block,
just treacherous. It was treacherous. I lived on Ninth Ave in between Craven and West 11th. It was crazy, right?
and that
So
house is my family's house.
when I
That
used to
house on the
bring the
corner.
Zulus, when I used to bring shout out to Hood Humble and Z Gang, when I used to bring the brothers from Crown Heights, Brooklyn to Long Island, they used to be like, "Yo, L, it's treacherous out here," and these brothers is from Crown Heights because they like. I remember Hood telling me like, "Yo, this shit is like Compton out here because
Yeah,
it's wild,
boy.
shitty ass houses, all ugly looking,
Yeah,
lawns burnt out, abandoned cars everywhere."
yeah,
And Hood's like, "Yo, when you beefing out here, there's nowhere to hide, no buildings, no
yeah.
Right.
projects.
None of that,
Right.
You
yo.
just go into somebody's front window and shoot them
Yo,
right through his
Yeah,
and the
window."
opioid crisis was a
yeah.
problem. Well, it probably still is too.
Nah, it
And
is
that was
now.
Yeah,
It's
back
yeah,
then.
crazy.
That was back then.
Mm-hmm.
That
yeah.
was back then. They
Drugs.
had the drugs, the opioids, especially because they heroin. Like I'm like, yo, people still do heroin. Like I was
Nah,
like,
they do.
growing up in Queens, like we seen crack. We all grew up in the crack era, so we saw that. But I ain't never seen no heroin addict.
I
You
miss
know what I'm
most of the
saying? Or
crack
no
era.
pill popper.
Now you see him.
Why so?
You see him.
I was in the islands.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I went to the
Yeah.
islands. I went to the islands like '85, so I was 6 years old. I came back at 10.
Right. Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I
I
miss
used to
all
come
that.
outside seeing the Skittles, the different color tops all over the place.
Mm.
I grew up North Side Farmers Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? So seeing that is, like I got legendary people on my block. You know what I mean? And just seeing that, like, you know, but you go to Long Island, whole different, like, dudes is like on steroids, all kinds of wild, like, like,
Already
Going
Rugged
nah,
Jim.
Man
for
said it,
real.
right?
Already the rugged man
Yo,
said it. Like Long Island, what he say? Long Island steroid abusers beating up
Right.
your car, flipping cars, or like literally flipping cars. You know
yeah,
what I'm
he's
saying?
right over
So
there. Them white boys
Long
is
Island
crazy,
is,
yo.
yeah, Long
White
Island
boys is
is
crazy.
slept on in hip hop also. It slept on in hip hop
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
Rakim, Bumpy Knuckles, MF
They lie.
Doom,
EPMD.
EPMD, De La,
Wait,
Rock Marciano.
yeah.
yo, I
Yeah,
bumped
Doom
into
from
Bumpy
Long
Knuckles
Island.
one time.
Yes. Some Titans.
Bumpy
You them
Knuckles.
Right.
Titans.
Right, yeah, Bumpy
Yeah,
Right.
Knuckles,
To
absolutely.
me, it's like one
yeah.
day I might
Talking about
say
people from
Queens
Long
is
Island.
ahead or Brooklyn is ahead. Right. To me, they're like tied, but Long Island is like second, third place,
Yo,
solidified.
yo,
Right under
they
Queens and
up there.
Brooklyn, Long Island.
Yo, a lot of people have Rakim as the best of all time. And like I said, it's subjective. Like I said earlier, it's subjective. But Rakim is up there. You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what?
Like, and what Doom did, Doom is up there. Like,
Doom
Hell
is
yeah.
up
whether you
there.
like him or not, Doom is up there just because he carved his own lane, and him with the whole mask,
Hmm.
the whole thing behind the mask is whatever you look like don't matter as long as you
Right.
getting busy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And,
Right.
and he made it work for him. Even with the Doom bots and all of that stuff. Like, so Doom is up there.
Piece of
Hard as
KMD,
hell
piece of
anyway.
Long Beach, Long
Word,
Island.
word. That's a fact. And then look at what Rock is doing. Look
Well,
what Rock recreated
him.
a whole subgenre within hip hop, and it birthed all these dudes. It birthed
Right.
Griselda. Well, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It birthed
No,
Yeah.
that's a fact.
Griselda. It birthed all
That's a
these
fact.
guys from like Westchester and like the Ethos, the 38 Special. Even though they probably was doing their stuff, because I know 38 Special been rhyming for a long time, but I think
Yeah, but
Rock
no, it's definitely Griselda, and
putting
it's the
his
Rock.
stuff. Like
He was the
he's like the father that he's like the I'm not gonna say he's the father, but he's like the
And Planet
catalyst
Asia.
for
And
all of
Planet
that stuff.
Asia. Those are the two.
Yeah,
Those like the
right.
two.
Yeah, because he
Those
never
like the two.
stopped. He never stopped.
Yeah, he
But
never stopped.
like Rock with the no drum, like with even the beats are like even the way they rhyming over the drumless beats and all of that. That's Rock. You know what I'm saying? So Long Island definitely
That's a
has
fact.
it's a staple. You know what I mean? Like shout out Long Island. For
Oh,
Yo,
real, for real.
definitely.
let me ask y'all this:
Definitely.
you just gonna put it straight up, or do you want to edit it at all, or do you just want to?
No,
Because
I'm
I
gonna
gotta
probably put
go.
this out raw. Yeah, I'm gonna put this out
All
raw.
right,
But let's
but
let's
I
end it
got.
on this, right?
Yeah,
You
because
gotta
I
go
gotta
right,
go.
right now.
I mean,
All
in
right, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
because
You
I
could
got
zap
someone
out, and
here. We gotta
we'll
get them.
finish this.
All right, cool. Yo, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
tell y'all, this is dope. Don't stop. The people that's gonna watch this and watch this, continue to do so. I like this. You know what I mean? Let's get really into. You know what I mean? Let's get into some
That's a
things. You know
fact.
what I'm
And it's
saying? Let's
gonna
get
be well formatted. It's gonna
right,
be
right, right. But
Yeah,
let's get
formatted.
into
yeah.
some
This
You
is
know what I'm
just
things,
the
saying?
right?
beginning. You know what I mean?
Right,
Right,
right. No, I
This
like
is
right.
that. I
just the
like that.
beginning.
And then yeah, I mean, keep the party
Or
going. Salute y'all. I love y'all, brothers.
yeah, yeah,
Y'all can't wait to
Peace.
see y'all.
Yo,
yeah.
peace.
Love you
Love you
Holla.
too.
too.
Peace,
Peace.
peace.
Peace, King. So
Peace.
yo, right. So we're gonna probably wrap this up. But what I want to talk about, what you could expect from Spears and Mike's, right? We're gonna strive to really get into the culture, not just hip hop culture. We're gonna talk about the street culture as well, right? Because what led to hip hop being born, really, the Ghetto Brothers had a big thing to do with that. I want to give the
It's a
Ghetto
fact.
Brothers, Black Benji, rest in peace, Yellow Benji, rest in peace. I want to give these
Absolutely. Karate
brothers,
Charlie, rest in peace.
Karate Charlie, rest in peace.
That's a
That's
fact.
our Zulu brother too.
That's a
One of the
fact.
original
And
Ghetto
the
Brothers,
Muslim
one of
brother too. That's a
and
fact.
that as well. Yeah, you know, give these brothers their flowers, right? You know what I mean? We hear this term going on so often, giving these brothers flowers. Very few people talk about them. You know, you hear all these hip hop podcasts. They don't talk about the b-boys. They don't talk about the DJs.
The
They don't talk
graffiti
about the
artist.
graffiti artists. They don't talk
Word.
about the knowledge or do the knowledge at all. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So what they're talking about is rap culture. really not hip hop culture, yet it has the title Hip Hop Podcast. And that's no knock to anybody, because you know what? I love a lot of these podcasts, and I salute them, and I watch them all. As much as I could consume, I try to take it in. And, you know, shout out to Nori, Drink Champs. I think that's great. I
Hmm.
think they do a great job. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds. I know
That's a
why
fact.
that's a big influence for you.
That's a
You know what I'm
fact.
saying?
That's a
One of the
fact.
originators of
That's a
hip hop
fact.
podcasting. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? As well as Joe Budden and so many others. Even Queen's Flip, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Word.
Queen's Flip. There's a lot of different people that's talking about hip hop podcasts, but we really want to start interviewing legends inside of the culture, within the culture, that are doing things for the culture, and people that are cultivating the culture, teaching the culture, and presenting it to you, presenting it to the masses. There's a lot of hip hop scholars, and I want to give shine to those brothers and sisters that's doing the work within the culture and keeping the culture growing and expanding. So, you know, God willing, that's what you're going to see from us in the Spears and Mike's podcast.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot coming up. Again, we want to shout out to Chino XL, rest in peace. We want to
Word.
give a shout out to DJ Polo, rest in peace.
Word.
Peace to our Zulu brother Red Alert, who got the statue. Peace to the brother Ralph
Ralph
McDaniels, who
McDaniels.
got his
Word.
statue. Video
Word.
Music Box is legendary.
And get well soon to Shaka Zulu Fox from the legendary MOP. You know what I'm
Or
saying? Get well
Mm.
that's
soon,
a
sis.
yeah. The
Word up.
sisters not the sisters I heard is like, you know,
I
not
help
doing
this
well.
family. Yeah,
Her
yeah,
health is failing, right? And
yeah.
I know she was a brother that ran with Zulu King BO. From my understanding, as I
Mm.
was told, Fox is a real official Shaka Zulu. All right, and she managed MOP, right, and guided their career. Shout out to
That's a
Little
fact.
Fame and Billy Thanes. You know, there's a lot of people gonna be surprised when this podcast continues to speak. We're gonna shout out a lot of names that people didn't know that were heavy Zulu, but people just don't know it, because this isn't
Right,
like something you put a bandana on, a colored bandana, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's him, he's the homie.
right.
Or
Right.
you know,
Or
he
you
put on a blue
speaking the
band.
lingo, or you
Right,
speaking
right, he's speaking
lingo.
that.
Right,
Right, a
right,
lot of Zulus below, you know, DJ K Slay, rest in peace to Dez. He was
right,
a dope
right,
graffiti artist and a dope DJ, was also a part of the chapter in East Harlem. You know what I mean? I believe it was chapter 11 or chapter 13. I don't
right.
recall. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to speak about our stories and what we know about these legends. And, you know, we're just going to keep on teaching, building, learning, and just pushing the culture forward, man. And, you know, whoever watches this, like it, subscribe to it, drop a comment, drop
Word,
some support, share it. Let's build. You know what I mean? You want to be on the show? Reach out to us at Spears and Mike's. Spears with a Z, Mike's with a Z, and, you know, Spears and Mike's at gmail.com. Drop us an email, drop us a comment, man. We'll build, we'll connect. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep the culture pushing forward. You know what I mean? I want to thank y'all brothers for y'all time, man. You know, I think it's going to be an incredible journey that we're about to be on.
word. It's a
Definitely.
fact.
Yeah, we're looking to drop maybe every 2 weeks if possible, inshallah, and we'll take it from there. You know what I mean?
Sounds
So y'all
good.
brothers have a good night.
Word,
Again, hit that like, hit that share, support the movement. You heard?
word. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace.